folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you for stopping by to watch. A lot of things have happened in the last 24 hours, and I'm sure most of you are well aware of it and kind of staying on top of it. We're gonna get into a little bit of that here in a minute, and just some of my views on it and a few other things that's been in the news, or not big things, but I think it's all connected, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Before we get started, thank you for watching again, and if you wouldn't mind to go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to the channel. When you do, the little bell next to it, if you click on that, you will get notifications of my videos, because sometimes here on YouTube they don't do a very good job of letting you know when a new video comes out. So I would appreciate if you do that. Wanted to also say, just before we get started, I know you guys hate long intros, so bear with me on this because I'm almost finished. If you're interested or in the market for a really good water filtration system, the big kind of gravity-fed drip ones, or you are looking for some really good prices on freeze-dried, canned, or Mylar sealed food products that is restaurant quality, and it's some of the cheapest price per calorie food, long-term food on the market, 25 to 30 year shelf life. In the description below, I work with My Patriot Supply, and there's a link there. You can go to that place, and they offer both the filters and the food and a few other supplies. The filters are $100 off. They're about a third of what a Berkey costs, and they're virtually the exact same thing. I have one of each, Berkey and this one, and really there's no difference. All right. So it was announced last night that the president tested positive for the coronavirus. The president and the first lady. A couple of people in the White House have also, or at least one person, and then I guess the RNC chairwoman has tested positive also. Apparently they've been just doing this testing frenzy, and it looks like, at least for now, and I'm only reporting the official version. We can go into whether these things are true or not. I'm just telling you what's being officially reported. Vice President and the presidential candidate, Joe Biden, has tested negative. But basically everyone that's been in contact with the president over the last week or two, it sounds like they're all getting tested. This morning, the news was reporting that he only has mild symptoms. Then I noticed this afternoon, I checked in again. I hadn't been, online or looked at the news for several hours. And a couple of things. He was supposed to do a campaign rally tonight. They switched that to being a virtual reality, and then he flat out canceled it. No rally whatsoever, nothing even virtual. And they're reporting now that he has developed a mild fever, some nasal congestion, and a cough. So his symptoms, according to what they're saying, sound a little bit more than mild, especially because of his age and stuff like that. Is the president in good health? Probably, for his age, but he's also a little on the overweight side, and I've never heard any thing being reported that he's, exercises or does anything to maintain his health on a regular basis. So I'm not judging, but I'm just going by what I've heard. So it's possible, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the birds over here. It's possible that he would be considered in a very high-risk category for the virus. Now, what does all this mean? I mean, do we just take it on face value that, okay, he has this virus and he's got some mild symptoms, mild to moderate symptoms, but he's going to be okay, and that's it, and this is all just normal? Or do we try to read more into it? Is there more at stake? Is there more going on? Well, we know there's more at stake. That's for certain. And my gut tells me, because of just, how things are and how things have been for months, and really his entire presidency, there's way more going on than what you or I are privy to. We can speculate and I kind of thought about going down that road, and I may speculate some, but I don't want this whole video to just be a bunch of speculation and possibilities. Because, the possibilities are, well, either what they're saying is just the truth, he doesn't have it at all, and it's being used to twist for something, or, it's much, much worse, and he's going to die, or maybe already there. I mean, there's all these possibilities. My opinion is, until we know the facts, and we may never know the facts, it doesn't matter so much whether he has it or not, whether it exists or not, or the severity of it or not. As long as he's still alive and capable of functioning as the president, the only thing to me that matters is that the media, the left, and possibly even many of the conservative right will use this to push forward what we've been talking about for the last week or two, and that's a second wave and a whole new slew of restrictions and shutdowns and lockdowns and all this kind of stuff, because, well, we knew it was coming, right? There's no doubt about that it was going to happen. They've been warning us for weeks, and it's been just building and building. And over the last 7 to 10 days, there's been numerous articles in the news and numerous people talking about it, of that it's coming, it's here, it's almost here. The numbers were starting to creep up, and all this kind of stuff. People with the CDC and saying that these states that's lessened the lockdown and lessened the restrictions, they got to stop that. They got to clamp it back down again, because the second wave's coming and it could be worse. And we've been hearing this drumbeat a lot. And then now, the president, who's been the one and only person in a very public arena, especially political, that while he hasn't spoken out completely against everything involving this virus, he has definitely tried to downplay it. He's tried to say, hey, they're destroying the economy. The whole mask thing is ridiculous. All that. Now, I have not agreed at all with his stance on the vaccine. He seems to really push the vaccine and keep saying that it's going to be available before the election, and everyone else is saying that's an impossibility. But hey, who am I to know what's really going on, right? But the point is he's been the one and only voice really in politics. I mean, there's a couple others, but for the most part, Rand Paul is one that comes to mind that has spoken out, but he doesn't have near the platform that the president does. That has tried, at least it appears on the surface, because remember, right now we're only just talking about what's on the surface. It appears that he has tried to have some kind of reason and logic when it comes to this whole pandemic. And now that one person has it. It seems to me that if what they're saying is true, yesterday when he tested positive and they saying he was doing fine and asymptomatic, if that was in fact true, then in less than 24 hours, he went from being asymptomatic to having mild to moderate symptoms. I'm just telling you what's in the news, okay? So if what they're reporting is completely factual, then he's gotten bad pretty fast. Now, it doesn't sound like he's super bad, but if he's not even willing to do a virtual a rally where it's just all televised and he can kind of suck it up for a while, and kind of joke about the fact that, I got this, Rona, and it's kind of like the cold. I mean, he could totally play it into his favor if he really wanted to. If he was truly able to, is the point. And if he's not able to do even a virtual rally at this point, then there's definitely some speculation of really how bad is the president. I mean, how bad is he? What's going on? Because we know how he loves his campaign rallies. So, as this is still early on, I mean, we haven't even been 24 hours since this all came out. I'm trying to think, and I've been busy today, so I haven't had time to just sit for hours online and see what everyone else is saying and all the details. So I'm just going by the little bits that I've gotten. My guess is that this is going to be the springboard This one thing, the president and then the first lady testing positive and him developing symptoms, is going to be the springboard for the second wave and everything that follows the second wave. Just my gut's telling me. As far as whether the president has it and how severe he is and will he make it, that's almost like a whole different thing. If he gets bad enough, certainly, if he's unable to fulfill his duties, he could temporarily relinquish the throne to Mike Pence. If he got bad enough that he can't do it at all, then he may not even have a choice to do that. And of course, there's always the chance that he could succumb to this illness, right? I know there's many of you that think that the virus doesn't even exist at all, and I respect your opinion. I'm not there. I think that there is definitely something. With all the research I've done, I believe there is something. I don't think it's what they're telling us. I think that's the thing that's not true. But there's all this stuff, this talk for the last 3.5 years of this battle between good and evil and the white hats and the black hats and the QAnon and the cabal and, all this kind of stuff. If the president didn't survive this, he would be a major game changer. And whether or not you like him or not, or think he's legitimate or not, or that he's part of the system or not, or any of that, it doesn't matter. If he succumbed to this virus, things are going to probably get really bad really fast. Again, that's speculation. I think the facts are, though, or at least my opinion of what the facts are going to be, is that, again, this is going to springboard and push this second wave into overtime, into hyperdrive, or whatever you want to call it, where we're gonna start feeling the effects of it soon. I think that this is going to be, I understand. I try not to get into this left-right paradigm of politics, because that's all malarkey or whatever. But the left is certainly going to push mail-in voting now. I mean, if the president has it and is getting ill with it, then we definitely have to have mail-in voting, right? And I could see this playing out in a really bad way. Maybe not. We could all be wrong. This could just be that he actually does have a little illness, and he's got this little cold symptoms for a few days, and he's taken his hydroxychloroquine. They say he's been on that stuff daily for weeks now, and of course he's got access to stuff that you and I certainly don't. I mean, I saw someone today, with a few times I was on, they were saying, well, he can only use the couple of drugs that's approved by the FDA. Whatever. He's the president. It doesn't matter whether it's approved or not. He has access to stuff you and I can't even think of, right? So he could totally, in just a few days, pull through this and be fine. And then I guess his argument is that, hey, see, I went through it, I survived, it's not a big deal. And that would certainly play into his favor, and of how ridiculous the whole pandemic is. We don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things at play here. I just think that the one thing that we know for certain is that, or that we can pretty much bank on. Let me say that. We don't know it for certain, but I think we can pretty much take it to the bank, that the pro-pandemic, pro-shutdown, pro-take all your freedoms away because this, thing is going to kill the whole planet crowd, they're going to do everything that I've said for months that they're going to try to do, and this is going to be their ammo, is that we've got to shut this country down. We've got to enforce, very strict restrictions, and we've got to be quarantining people, and everyone has to wear a mask, and everyone has to do this and that. They're going to push for it hard, and they're going to say, hey, if the president himself, the guy that's, the most protected person in the world, or at least the country, has gotten it, then how much easier it is for you to get it. And if the president of the country did I say world earlier? The president of the country, just about, if he, you know, if he's getting ill and he has access to the best medicine and physicians and like I said, access to things that you and I most likely don't have access to, and he's getting sick and it's being rough on him, then how much worse is it going to be for you little peasant peons, right? It's going to be bad for you. So you have to listen to us, and we have to take away all your rights and freedoms so that we can protect you. I mean, I can totally see that being an argument. So, get ready. I think that it's just, I keep waiting. You know, I talk about this stuff on here, and on the back of my mind occasionally, before I talk about this stuff, I'm going to pause for just a moment and give a little personal thing. Before I make these videos, there's times I sit there and think, I don't want to come across that I'm, you know, making something out of nothing, or that I'm just trying to say this stuff to sell a video, right? I want there to be some truth and some, you know, heart into this. And yet every day when more and more stuff happens, it's like it's just confirming the stuff that I'm thinking, confirming my thoughts and the things that I talk about. That I don't think that I'm, you know, over exaggerating things. You know, because I want to keep myself in check. I want to make sure that I'm not, you know, just trying to get on here to sell stuff to you, that kind of stuff. And yet here we are again. Now that the president has it, and it seems within about a 12-hour period, he went from testing positive and being asymptomatic to now his symptoms are so bad that he can't even do a virtual rally. Yeah, what this brings me to is something else that probably no one saw in the news, because it wasn't. It was just a little article. I posted it on the Facebook page, so the few of you on there, you may have seen it. While I'm at it, I'm going to mention it if you want to go to the Facebook page and like that. But I also have a group, the Prepared Homestead group. It's growing. I post in there occasionally, because I'm not big on Facebook, but I post occasionally. But the wife and kids try to keep that one going. But I post in there occasionally. And what I've been doing, if I come across a property for sale or for rent in the Ozarks, and I'm not necessarily looking for them, I'm certainly not making any money, but if I just happen to find one, I typically post the information in there just in case some of y'all are looking, because I know a lot of you are looking for a place here in the Ozarks. But anyways, on to the point. I keep going down these little rabbit trails. I don't remember, you know what, I looked at it before I made the video and now I've forgotten. What, the Washington Examiner, just popped in my mind. Washington Examiner did an article that 61% of the American population, there was three polling companies got together and they did this big poll, and they found that 61% of Americans across the board believe we are headed for a civil war soon. And I'm not talking about a civil war of ideals. They're talking about a pew-pew civil war. Yeah, that's what they're saying. And they also said that 52% of Americans are preparing for that. Not just prepping in general, but they're actually preparing for a civil war. 61% believe that we're headed for it soon. That there's just it's going to happen, and I believe it was about half of that 61%, you know, believed it's there, that we're beyond the point of it not happening, meaning that it's a assured thing. And then 52% of the American population is actually actively preparing themselves for a civil war here in the United States. Now, I know masses of people can do and think stupid things. But folks, I'm afraid, I don't want to admit it. I wish it didn't happen in a lot of ways. Mostly because I got kids and I got grandkids and I don't want them to live through it. But you know, I believe it was, oh goodness, it was one of our founders, and the name, which the one it was, just slipped my mind, but I know many of you will remember it for me. I would rather it happen in my lifetime and fight now than for it to happen later in my children. And I know that's not an exact quote, that's my own version of it, but you know what I'm saying. As much as I don't want it to happen, at least if it happens now, it's something that you and I will have to deal with, and not our children and our grandchildren. Because whether it happens now or in 2 years or in 10 years, I think it is going to happen. And folks, we need to get prepared for it. And this whole thing with the president, you need to keep watching it, because I think there's a lot more going on, whether it's what's really happening or what they're really going to do to take advantage of the situation. Either way, I think some things are going to start moving pretty quickly for us in the coming days and weeks. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.